Oh, welcome back, Junior Shamans. Last time we learned how to find a good deal on a used car. In that video, I mentioned specifically that you should have no particular car in mind when looking for a good deal. But it did beg a question in my own mind, at least. If we're going to look for a specific vehicle to be a reliable ride, what are your best options? Yeah, great news! I have here a list of the most reliable cars you can readily find. And because every tool has its purpose and the right tool must be used in the right situation, I've been kind enough to choose a winner for most categories of vehicles. If you disagree with any of my choices, let me know in the comments. If you learned something, leave a like, and if you get a chuckle along the way, subscribe. If you do all three, let me know, leave a like, and tell a friend. Thanks to everyone who joined the community last week in what was my most successful upload. And a special shout out to ArrowWorks661, who has been granted absolution from the car sin of leaving their vehicle unattended at the gas pump or being let into traffic without a courtesy wave. Here we go, the 7 most reliable used cars available. Honorable mentions. I got a couple of cars that deserve a mention and are without a doubt rock solid. For reasons I'll explain in their reviews, they didn't make the cut for the list. If any of these cars give you that special sort of feeling, I say go for it. You really can't go wrong here. The Toyota Land Cruiser. Without question, the Toyota Land Cruiser is the GOAT of rugged and reliable. These things have been known to clock 1,000,000 miles and do it in the worst environments in the world. No car is more overbuilt or deserving of its reputation as the Land Cruiser. So why did it not make the list? Well, they can be hard to come by, and when you do, people want a premium for them. Also, the first generation of these things was not really geared properly for interstate driving. The Shaman would love to have one of these bad boys, but until more of you subscribe and that sweet, sweet ad money comes in, he's stuck dreaming. If you have the budget for one and see one in good condition, run, don't walk, and pick that thing up. Mercedes 300D. To some, they may look a little dated, but I think this look is timeless and that they are as sharp as a tack. A tank with a well-appointed living room for an interior. Comfortable and built like a doomsday bunker. The engines in these things are bulletproof. They just run forever and do so with minimal maintenance. So why can't I include this thing on the list? Well, the majority of them did not have airbags, and I just can't find it in myself to recommend them on that alone. Not to mention, this is the tail end of the old school, and they had onboard computers with no standard diagnostic port. Diagnosing issues can be trouble, and as they are getting long in the tooth, parts are harder to come by, and with any Mercedes, they are expensive. Also, they are glacially slow, and have a hard time getting out of their own way. If you know how to run a lab scope and have the budget for repairs, these puppies are a hot buy and one I'd happily have in my driveway. Compact car, Toyota Corolla, 9th generation. Here is the first of many Toyotas. Really, you can't go wrong with any Corolla, but if you want the best bang for your buck and reliable as the morning sun, the 9th generation of Corolla produced from 2003 to 2008 is the king daddy. You're not going to win any style competitions, but if you want to send your son or daughter off to college and not think twice about their car, this is your choice. A savvy shopper can pick one up for $2,000, and even on the high end, $4,000 is a lot to ask for one. The 1ZZ engine is about as powerful as a popcorn fart, but they just keep ticking. Parts are cheap, tires are cheap, insurance is cheap. 250,000 miles is nothing for the engine, and if you can find one with a 5-speed mated to it, you jump on that deal. Fuel efficient, practical, reliable. You want a city commuter? Here it is. Full-sized car, Buick LeSabre, final generation with a 3.8. I'd be willing to bet this is the car most popular with automotive technicians. A rolling living room with one of the best engines GM ever produced, the 3.8 liter in particular. 3.8 and 3.8 only. Super easy to work on, lots of room in the engine bay, and parts are cheap as they come. It would be a rare day to need to fix one of these things, and an even more rare day to not have every part you need to build one new on the shelf at every auto parts house in any market. Again, not a style winner, and I'll be honest, I've never cared for the fake engine portholes on any Buick, but you won't care what the outside looks like sitting pretty in a super comfortable interior. The ride quality on one of these things is what really sells it. Whisper quiet and smooth as glass. Again, a smart buy at just over $2,000 and a top end of $5,000. That should be about the last money you spend on it apart from tires. Compact SUV, Honda CR-V 2nd Gen. When I was at tech school, we had a professor who was a former Mercedes master technician and service advisor by the name of Hans. Hans would ask us, "What's the best car in the world?" Mercedes SL-AMG, Chevy Corvette, Lamborghini Gallardo. We would all shout. "You're all too young to be smart," he would answer. "It's the Honda CR-V." We would look at each other in disbelief. "How do you know it's the best car in the world?" "It's the one I drive, and who knows more about cars than me?" He sure loved that joke, and at the time he seemed crazy, but now that I have kids and things to do, damn it, he was right. Full-size spare, all-wheel drive, and Honda parts. You need like 3 wrenches to work on this thing. Generation 2 from 2001 to 2006 is the sweet spot. Extra points for the 5-speed. Do your timing belts on time, change the oil, and keep a VTech solenoid in the glove box. That's about the only part you'll ever need. $3,500 to $5,500. Not bad for a car that's going to happily do 500,000 miles. Full-size SUV. Chevy Suburban GMT 800 generation. There will be signs when the YouTube money starts rolling in. And it will be a Chevy Suburban in the Auto Shaman driveway. Probably a 2003 Indigo Metallic. 3 rows, of course. 1999 to 2006 with a 5.3-liter V8. And your kids will drive it to school even if they have not been born yet. Plenty of grunt for towing, room for the whole family in Fido. Hold the seats flat and head to the lumberyard. Tahoe, same. But if you're going to buy a full-size SUV, you may as well buy a full-sized SUV and get the big boy. On the very rare occasion one of these things came in on a tow truck, we'd all have a bet if it was the fuel pump or the ignition coils. Those were the options. The transmissions are as durable as they get, and again, parts for this thing at any Napa or O'Reilly in America is on the shelf and ready to go. Really, I'd have any car on this list, but for my cheap and lazy butt, here's your winner. $4,000 to $6,000 all day long, but don't be surprised at $8,000 to $10,000 for a super clean example. Worth every penny. Luxury sedan, LS400 Lexus, 2nd gen. Coolest car on the list, no questions asked. Also a great bad guy car in movies, which also piques my interest in any car. Christopher in The Sopranos drove one of these puppies and made it look good in the process. Worth mentioning, popular car with drug dealers. Well, all Lexuses really, so don't be surprised if you get pulled over a fair amount. Toyota wanted to enter the luxury market with a bold statement. I think they spent $1 billion designing and producing this thing, and it is built to last. This is a 500,000-mile car with minimal maintenance. The 1UZ V8 is overbuilt, and after a nuclear holocaust, it will be cockroaches and the 1UZ engine remaining. BMW accused Lexus of selling these cars at a loss. They couldn't imagine selling something this badass and reliable for 75% of the cost of its competitors. This is the only car that would give the LeSabre a run for its money for comfort, and it beats it in style to boot. This 30-year-old vehicle will not look out of place at any high-end restaurant or country club, so if you have airs to put on, here is your ride. $4,000 is the sweet spot. After that, you're done spending money, so hold out for a clean one and don't buy one off a kid. It's been abused and there are drugs you forgot about somewhere in there. Minivan, Toyota Sienna, 2nd generation. Shocker, another Toyota. If you watch my shorts, you know how I feel about minivans. These are the best all-rounders you can buy. For some with a family, a van is preferable to an SUV because they are lower to the ground and the sliding doors reduces the risk of insurance claims in the parking lot with careless children. The 2nd generation from 2004 to 2006 with the 3.5-liter is about as reliable as minivans come. Toyota reliability extends to the interior features as well, which is important because vans live hard lives. All vans can be more difficult to work on for access reasons, so lucky this one won't give you many opportunities. Once again, parts are cheap and widely available. You can expect to pay something like $3,500 for a decent example and definitely be ready to spring for an interior detail. Kids and dogs are rough on cars and vans see a lot of traffic this way, but the start and go portions of a Sienna should be as reliable as they come. Pickup truck, Toyota Tacoma, 2005 to 2015. You want to talk about a cult following, here you go. I work in insurance and I can always guarantee that if I total a Tacoma, there will be an argument over the value, and for a good reason. Every Tacoma lives 2 lives. One, stateside until it's not reasonable to repair it after collision, and one in the third world afterward. Frigging destructible. They go and go and go and then go some more. As always, the manual is the preferable option, but the automatics in these things won't leave you stuck either. Either engine is a winner, but the 4-liter V6 is better suited for truck duty. It has the same weight to lug around, so you won't see much exchange on mileage with the 4-cylinder, and it won't hold the same retail value. Change the oil and take this thing to 500,000 or more miles. When you're done with it, make sure you take your company branding off it so you won't see ISIS driving it with a machine gun on the roof in a news segment in a few years. This one's gonna hurt. $10,000 would be getting off light with one of these. $13,500 is probably the average, and a real low miles super clean example could probably pull $20,000. You want to save money, go get a Silverado. You want to drive around the globe? Pick up a Tacoma. Well, what have we learned today? 1. GM or Toyota is a safe bet. They are sort of sister companies in a lot of ways, so no surprises there. Shouts out to the Honda CR-V, but being honest, it only beats out the RAV4, so I didn't have to call this an ode to Toyota. It's roomier inside too, so there's that. One could easily consider a Subaru Forester in this category as well. They're equally reliable and roomy and get you going where you need to. 2. Generation 1 of nothing. You don't want to be an earlier adopter of things. There are bugs to work out, and you don't want to be the one working them out. Most of these cars are 2nd generation examples because the hit was refined. The GM's got later generations because they build something once and only look to make it better. No good ideas here, just improvements. 3. Yeah, chances are good you need to come up from the $2,000 of the last video, but not by much. This is a buy it for life situation, not an I need a car right now and I'm on the struggle bus use case. If you have the money and can take the time, look for any of these cars and sleep easy at night knowing you have a reliable rig in your garage. Every car will give you some headaches, but these 7 are your best for avoiding them in the future. You can email me your car questions at theautoshamanpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions on my weekly podcast. I would love to hear about your high mileage, high scores, so let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for your time.